Welcome to Ivanoff Retirement Insights with Paul and Travis Ivanoff. The father and son team at Ivanoff Advisors and Ivanoff Wealth Management helps clients grow and protect their wealth. Paul and Travis understand the importance of having tax-advantaged, reliable income in retirement, protecting your assets, and helping you achieve your retirement dreams. Now, Ivanoff Retirement Insights.
Welcome to another episode of the Ivanoff Retirement Insights podcast. My name is Casey, and I am here with my buddies, Paul Ivanoff, insurance agent with Ivanoff Advisors, and his son, Travis Ivanoff, investment advisor representative with Ivanoff Wealth Management. And they are here to break down some of the biggest retirement headlines from the week for us. All right, guys, let's get into it. The end of the year will be here before we know it, and the city of Pittsburgh actually put up its downtown Christmas tree a few weeks ago, even before Halloween. Apparently, it's a logistical thing because it's got to be up before they can assemble the surrounding temporary ice rink. But in any case, this is just another reminder about the end of the year approaching fast. So wanted to ask you guys, what items should we tick off during our review with you before 2026 sets in?
Yeah, well, it's funny, Casey. We see Christmas trees going up earlier and earlier every year. It's amazing. The big box stores, Costco, Home Depot, I'm seeing Christmas trees up the beginning of September. I can't believe it. It just lets us know that the end of the year really sneaks up fast. That's why it's really important for a financial checkup. And it's important to get your Ivanoff retirement roadmap.
This is super important for end of year planning. And there's a number of things we are looking at. And I think this really shines a light on our advanced planning. So we talk about, the tax loss harvesting that Paul had mentioned, making sure your RMDs are out, maxing out your retirement accounts, looking at Roth conversions. But let's dig into a couple examples that I have that have recently took place. I had a client that is very charitable. They always give to their charities. They are over 70 and a half, and now, but they really haven't pulled money. So now that they're 73, they have to pull their required minimal distributions. What that is on your tax deferred money. It's grown this entire time, tax deferred. And now Uncle Sam's basically like, hey, you owe me some money. You haven't paid taxes on it. So when you have to pull your required minimal distribution, you're actually able to do what is called a qualified charitable distribution. So what that means is, like, my client is at Charles Schwab, and that's where we manage their IRA. And they came in for their review and like, Travis, I'm always pretty charitable, as you know, but I hate paying taxes. I was like, well, do you remember the last time we talked about QCDs, qualified charitable distribution. So we can actually have Charles Schwab cut a check for, let's say your R&B is like 10 grand. We can have them cut a check for $10,000 from Charles Schwab, send it directly to your charity, a 501c that's properly registered, et cetera. And it counts as your required minimal distribution, but it does not add taxes to your ordinary income. They're like, oh my gosh, I forgot all about that. I'm glad I came in for this review because I would have just done it on my own without thinking through that. So that's something that's very important. If you're already charitable, well, there's no reason why you can't help yourself out. Still help the charity, but let's pay a little less in taxes. And then something that I think is interesting, tax loss harvesting. From my experience, a lot of people don't really realize what this entails. And I'm not going to get into the weeds. That's what you can set up a no obligation appointment and we can kind of walk through this. But one of our portfolios we run, actually a few of them, we automatically have tax loss harvesting built into this. So you don't have to wait to the end of the year to go, oh, geez, can I tax loss harvest? Can I sell some of the losers in my portfolio and then offset it with the winners? Or am I going to make a big purchase this year so I can tax loss harvest and pull some gains out and pay for my daughter's wedding, which I often hear. We automatically do that year round in some of the portfolios we manage. So you don't have to wait to the end of the year. We can have a goal-based portfolio that's automatically tax loss harvesting. Now, for you, those of you that are listening and you are very tax sensitive, this is something that really sets our team apart. This is something we've been doing for the last couple of years. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of it, and we make you more tax efficient. So those are very important things we need to be thinking about before the end of the year. And if it's too late, if you're just now going to sit with us for your no obligation, sit down and kind of see what we can do, we should get planning on it next year so we can, tax efficiency is key. We can do better in the market with returns if we're just more tax efficient.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, because I know existing clients fill a lot of your December calendar slots. So if somebody is new, when should they be making that appointment to have that first meeting with you guys?
Make it as soon as possible. We do get busy. We have a lot of clients that we love helping with this. And we are very strategic in our investment planning, retirement planning, long-term care planning, Medicare planning, but really, really strategic in our tax planning. So there's no time like the present. Pick up that phone, give us a holler, and one of our girls will pick up and get you set. And even if it's an initial Zoom just to kind of get you in the door, that works as well. So hopefully you give us a holler soon.
Yeah, and just a reminder, Paul and Travis are local. Their office is in Cypress in Orange County. They're happy to meet with you in person or virtually, whatever works best for you. Just give us a call. Let's get you on the calendar. That number again, 714-452-1955. Your Ivanoff Retirement Roadmap is waiting for you. So that number one more time, 714-452-1955. Or you can always visit us at ivanoffinsights.com and you can get connected that way. All right, guys, there are a lot of studies that talk about when people hope to retire versus when they actually do. And here is the Wall Street Journal's Ann Turgeson on Morningstar recently. Take a listen.
And over time, I just started noticing like everybody says they want to retire later than they do on average. People want to retire at, say, 65, 66, but they really are retiring more like 63. And often, people speak to these unexpected things that happen, whether it's layoffs, often it's health issues, whether it's their own health or somebody else's health, and they need to provide caregiving. So I think that's just a very, very persistent, common trend over time.
So guys, how do you design a retirement plan that builds for longevity, but is flexible enough to handle life surprises? Talk to us about this.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked earlier about the retirement roadmap, and we talk about it on every episode. But something that I haven't really introduced to our listeners that we do often go through, and again, not to get too far into the weeds, but when we sit down, we have the retirement roadmap. We also have the Ivanoff Quadrant System. And what that means is this. We have 4 different quadrants we use for our planning. Just to kind of give you the basics. So we have yield or income producing assets. We have protection assets. We have balanced assets. We have growth assets. So to answer your question, we always fill every quadrant. So that project money, that emergency money, that oftentimes you'll find being lazy in people's bank accounts, not making any kind of interest. Or maybe it's sitting in a old target date fund or something like that. Again, making 2-3%, not even keeping up with inflation. That project money or that emergency money, we need to plan from that from the get-go, right? We can't just wait for the emergency to happen and be like, okay, well, what do we do now? So flexibility, we're not trying to predict the future, but we need to be ready for it. So having income sources that can adapt helps us keep our plan steady. So really what I mean is, that protection money, right? Something that we have many strategies we can do this in the market with, but maybe we're using some kind of structured note, something that's giving you some downside protection, because what we're really talking about is it going to be liquid, and is it, have some kind of protection versus a sudden downturn? That money we want in the protection quadrant, and there's different strategies and portfolios we can use. But we urge our clients when we get to know them that we're filling out each one of these quadrants. So the roadmap shows you where everything's at. The quadrants help us dictate the purpose, and the purpose of money dictates where you put it. So by using the quadrant plan, we'll know, hey, we're going to have X amount in the protection. That way, if something pops up, we know it's not getting hit in the market, and we know it's liquid. So whether it's an emergency for healthcare, maybe it's you just got invited to a last minute trip and you're like, oh, geez, I want to pull some money up, but the market's down. I don't want to tap into those. Well, we have other styles of portfolios and other styles of planning that has that money readily available without as much risk to it, if any, as well as the ability to make it liquid. So flexibility in your planning is important, but you don't want to arrive at the need for flexibility without ever having a plan. So in order to do this, we got to build out from the start.
I've said it once. I'll say it a million more times. Retirement, it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of deal, and your plan should not be either. Life changes, the market shift, your needs evolve over time, and Paul and Travis can help you build a plan that adjusts with you, and they'll help you stay prepared for whatever may come next. 714-452-1955 is how you can reach us. We'll find you a spot on the calendar to sit down with the guys for your complimentary Ivanoff Retirement Roadmap. 714-452-1955 is that number for you. Again, we've got our Ivanoff teammates at the office standing by right now to take your call. Or if online's better for you, you can always head to ivanoffinsights.com, and it has got all the different ways that you can get connected with us right there. All right. How long would $1.5 million in retirement last you, depending on the state where you live? The website gobankingrates.com did the calculations minus Social Security benefits. While $1.5 million can last 54 years in West Virginia, it lasts just 17 years in Hawaii, 23 in Massachusetts, and 24 right here in California. The good news is that same amount would last you 40 years in 32 different states. So, guys, does this shoot a hole in the notion that you have to be wealthy to retire comfortably, even if they've saved less than $1.5 million? Should we even pay attention to a magic number? What are your thoughts here?
I mean, I would not get stuck on the magic number. And, for $1.5 million, we're not even discussing what are they getting in Social Security, things like that. It all depends on what your target number is, what your dream number is. $1.5 million is a large chunk of money. And I really feel that with the right planning, that we can build out some strategies that are going to give you the confidence that really what we're talking about here is that you're never going to run out of money. And we do not shy away from fixed index annuities in this case, right? So fixed index annuities, there's 6-7 different kinds of annuities. Not all are created equal. Some are really good and used for the wrong people. Some are really, some we stay away from, like variable annuities tend to have higher fees. So if we're looking at income streams and we want to make sure we're never going to outlive our money, and this goes through a husband and wife, if a married couple, that income will be there for the rest of your life. We're essentially building a pension. So let's say on $1.5 million, I'm just going to throw some rough numbers so no one hold me to this, okay? But $1.5 million, let's say you got $700,000 into an annuity and you're currently, 65 years old and your wife's the same age, let's just say. You're looking at maybe with the withdrawal rate, let's say around 6%. So on that, maybe that's going to that $700,000 we just stuck in a fixed index annuity and possibly turned on income right away. And again, I'm getting in the weeds today. I hung out with an engineer earlier, so that might be rubbing off on me right now. But let's say that's going to generate $42,000 a year for the rest of you and your spouse's life. $42,000 a year. That's a pretty big chunk of money. And then let's say you both have another $60,000 from Social Security. Okay, so just using that $700,000 and the two Social Securities, we're over $90,000 a year of income coming out. Let's say the other $800,000 we put into the market. We filled the different quadrants. We got defense. We have yield. We have growth. Just putting some quick numbers together. If you can get to, with using some yield portfolios, things like that, plus the other strategies I talked about, you're over $100,000 a year of income coming in. And the annuity and the Social Security, we know the annuity will be there for you and your spouse's life. Now, the Social Security is a different conversation. This is where our retirement roadmap comes in. If something happens to your spouse, you're going to lose one of these Social Securities, and it's going to be the lower one. So we need a plan in our retirement roadmap that, it's not always romantic. We're not going to go out on the same day like Romeo and Juliet. So how do we replace that income if someone passes? How do we replace that Social Security? So that's another conversation we have. But $1.5 million, I feel like depending on your debt, depending on your target, you can stay in California with that if your home's paid off. A lot of people we run into the home's paid off and you're still going to have a fantastic retirement. But I think what Paul and I see a lot is, okay, if you have kids, where did they go? Especially if they have grandkids. Because that might change everything, right? If I have a client that just moved to Tennessee, grandkids are in Tennessee. Therefore, my clients want to move to Tennessee because it's their only kid and grandkids. They want to be a part of their life. So that might throw another wrench into your planning. And $1.5 million in Tennessee goes a lot further than California.
Well, we start throwing these numbers around, and I'm sure we've got some listeners who hear these numbers and how long it'll last, and they start to panic a little bit. So let me ask you guys this. If somebody has saved, let's say, far less than $1.5 million, what are some realistic strategies that they can use to still retire with that confidence that they're looking for, especially in higher cost states like ours?
No, I would just say, so, in that case, you haven't saved as much. Well, let's get you one of our spending budgets to you so you can, because oftentimes you don't even know how much you spend, right? I ask people all the time, like, I have no idea what I spend in retirement. Okay, we have a budget. We can send it to you. You can fill it out and that'll give us an idea, right? So we might need to adjust spending based off that. Relocating, we talked about that. I have had a number of clients that sell their home in, Orange County is where we're at, California. Not far-fetched, especially if your home's paid off. Maybe you're selling your home for over $1 million. Well, you move somewhere in Tennessee. I keep using Tennessee because we're actually opening an office there next year. And we have a lot of clients that have relocated over there, but I just know that market pretty well. So you can buy a $500,000 home out there, which would be a beautiful home, pay cash for it. And now you have another $500,000 to reinvest. So maybe relocating is an option, timing your Social Security correctly. At the end of the day in retirement, the goal is confidence and sustainability. It's not necessarily chasing a specific figure. Can the retirement roadmap we build give you confidence and sustainability? And then we can figure out the next moves from there once we get to really know you and what it takes to be you. So the moral of the story, Casey, is that's why you need to come sit down with us. We'll get to know you. We'll start building out your retirement roadmap. And hey, maybe you thought you didn't save enough, but maybe you can actually retire tomorrow. If you could, how soon would you want to? That depends on your job. So come in, sit down with us, give our office a call, 714-452-1955. Let's get your retirement roadmap built out and see if we can't get you retired sooner than you thought or give you the confidence you need where you can retire in the next 5 years or so.
Yes, your Ivanoff Retirement Roadmap is waiting for you. You just have to be the one to make that call. 714-452-1955 is that number for you. Again, we'll get you on the calendar. No obligation. This is just a conversation, but our spots are limited. So make sure you take advantage while we've got them, or we can get you signed up to join us at one of our seminars coming up this week. That number one more time to do it all, 714-452-1955, or online at ivanoffinsights.com. And that is Ivanoff, Ivanoff. Now, guys, we just passed the 96th anniversary of the 1929 stock market crash that helped usher in the Great Depression. CNBC and New York Times financial reporter Andrew Ross Sorkin has come out with a new book about that time. It's called 1929. And he tells 60 Minutes that the market run-up we've seen lately mirrors the overpriced bubble of 1929. Take a listen.
I would argue to you that the economy is being propped up almost artificially by the artificial intelligence boom. There are hundreds of billions of dollars that are being invested today in artificial intelligence. This is either a gold rush or a sugar rush, and we probably won't know for a couple of years which one it is. We will have a crash. I just can't tell you when, and I can't tell you how deep. But I can assure you, unfortunately, I wish I wasn't saying this, we will have a crash.
So, guys, have you seen clients nearing retirement come in with too much market risk in their portfolio? And what's a way to reduce that without sacrificing too much growth?
Every single day. I mean, every client I meet with, we'll sit there and get to know them. They tell me they're conservative. Then we do a portfolio x-ray where we rip through what they currently have. And they're not conservative in the least. I mean, they are very aggressive for the most part, what we see. So, just knowing is the first step, right? Admitting you have a problem is the first step.
Yeah, and also, Casey, one of the big problems we run into with clients is that what a husband might think his risk is, the wife will give him a funny look like, I don't think that way. I mean, they have to open up the investment lines of communication to kind of get on the same page. And this is where we try to put them both together to come up with common ground.
I think sometimes we forget that what goes up must come down. So with that in mind, I'm curious, when you meet with folks who are nearing retirement and have a lot of their nest egg tied up in stocks, how do you kick off that first conversation about the risks that they might be facing?
Well, when we get to know someone, this is why it's imperative that we bring, or this is why it's paramount that we get a look at client statements, because oftentimes a client will tell me they're conservative, and then I rip through their statements and it tells me a whole nother story about them. So when we have that conversation, we have different, software that allows us to show what a drawdown would look like if April happened again, right? April and May, the S&P fell over 18%. What have you done differently since then to make sure you aren't going to lose your shirt? Because if you are retired or getting ready to retire and something like that was to happen, are you going to sell at the bottom because you panic, right? That's what oftentimes people do. And then all of a sudden your portfolio is taking a big hit. So we talk about the conversation, but really what it all leads down to is the purpose of money dictates where you put it. But for those clients that don't understand their risk, well, then that also tells me they don't really have a purpose for their dollars and they haven't looked at it with a retirement lens. So when you come into our office, we do a portfolio x-ray, we see what your risk is. Then we can start adjusting your risks to meet your needs. Because oftentimes, if you've already made, going back to our earlier conversation, if you got $1.5 million, you've done pretty well, home's paid off. If we make you an extra 20%, is that really going to change your life? Are you going to run out there and buy a Porsche or something like that? Most of my clients I sit down with, that's really not the case. But if you lose 20%, what's going to happen? It's going to paralyze you in retirement because now you're afraid to spend money. So there's many ways we can have this conversation, but the most important thing is that we have that conversation and you realize the risks that you're sitting in. And then there's a ton of strategies we use to de-risk a client's portfolio. So, at the end of the day, losses will hurt you more than gains will help you at this point if you're getting ready to retire. Let's not make a big mistake phase of retirement. That's what we talk to clients about. Like, don't make a big mistake. You've already made it to the top of Everest. Let's make sure you get down safely.
It's like Travis said, the most important thing is that you actually have the conversation. So let Paul and Travis be your second set of eyes. They can help you understand where you stand and what adjustments might make sense for your personal situation. This is what the Ivanoff Retirement Roadmap is all about. It's a complimentary consultation to help you build a plan that's balanced, flexible, and built to last you. So give us a call, 714-452-1955. We'll find you the next convenient time on the calendar. That number again, 714-452-1955. We've got our Ivanoff teammates standing by at the office right now to help you out. Or you can always visit ivanoffinsights.com and we can get connected that way. That's going to do it for us on this episode of the Ivanoff Retirement Insights podcast. We'll be back next week with more great insight from Paul and Travis Ivanoff of Ivanoff Advisors and Ivanoff Wealth Management. We'll see you soon.
Investment advisory services offered through Ivanoff Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor firm. Registration is not an endorsement by security regulators. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities offered through Travis Ivanoff, California CRD number 325275. The firms are separate entities. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company and are not offered by Ivanoff Wealth Management Incorporated. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Ivanoff Wealth Management is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Ivanoff Wealth Management is licensed in your state, please call 714-553-1490. Ivanoff Advisors is not affiliated with Ivanoff Wealth Management Incorporated. Advisory services are offered by Travis Ivanoff through Ivanoff Wealth Management. Insurance services are offered by Paul Ivanoff through Ivanoff Advisors. The aforementioned are unaffiliated companies.
All content is for information purposes only. It is not intended to provide any tax or legal advice or provide the basis for any financial decisions, nor is it intended to be a projection of current or future performance or indication or future results.